Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Pearson and Excel Maths by Mr. Kamotho. And in this video, I want us to just go ahead and find the differential of y is equals to cosine x using the first principle. And in the previous video, we have outlined the differential of y is equals to sine x using the first principle. And at the same time, just the way we know, the f prime x, or the differential, if fx plus h minus fx all over h. And in the same kind of context, the differential of the function if fx is equals to cosine of x is going to be the cosine of x plus h minus the cosine of x everything over h. And it follows that according to addition angle formulae, that the cosine of x plus h is given by the cosine of x cosine of h minus the sine of x sine of h everything over h. And of course, remember, this is when x approaches 0. Fine. And we know very well that we have the sine, the cosine of x, and we have the sine of x, which have to be brought together. But before then, of course, this is minus the cosine of x. So if we bring this part here, we're going to have, as h approaches 0, the cosine of x cosine of h minus the cosine of x minus the sine of x sine of h all over h. And of course, you can see the cosine of x is common, and therefore it's not affected by the limit as x approaches 0. So the limit, now we can get cosine x outside and have our limit to affect just what it can affect. So the cosine of h minus 1 all over cosine of h minus the sine of x is not affected by the limiting h. So the sine of x, let's have our limit h, the sine of h over h, and therefore this one is just that. And of course, as you know, this is the derivative of the function of x, which is, at the end of the day, we have realized in the previous video that as h approaches 0, the cosine of h becomes 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 divided by anything is 0. So we have the derivative. This one is the cosine of x multiplied by 0 minus the sine of x multiplied by, as h approaches 0, we have also found that sine h over h is 1 in the previous video, and this is exactly what we have. So eventually, the function or derivative of x when derivative of x when fx is equals to cosine of x is going to be 0 minus the sine of x. And that is just like it. So we have been able to prove that when y is equals to the cosine of x, then dy dx of the cosine of x becomes sine x. And that is one important piece of information that we need to carry on to the next video as we prove some of these examples. Again, visit my YouTube channel, which is called Pearson and Excel Maths, International Maths by Mr. Kamotho, and subscribe, and let us work together. All right.